Hey everybody, welcome back to Cruiseman's Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about the F1 motorcycle dash cam from Vantrue.
This video is sponsored by Cruiseman's Garage Honda Goldwing Maintenance Video Series.
So the first part of this video, I'm going to open up the box, take a look at this. I really know very little about this product. I have watched another video on YouTube where somebody did install this on their motorcycle. It was not a Goldwing, and I am planning to test and review this on my 2018 Honda Goldwing. Why would you even consider a dash cam? Well, many of you know, I just recently had an accident out in West Texas back in April. And one of the first things the policeman asked me was, did you get this recorded? Because I did have a GoPro and a Insta360 camera, but I didn't have them turned on at the time. If I'd had a dash cam like this installed, I could have said, yes, sir, I do. Here's my phone, and here is the video. Okay, so I think you get that point. Now, first, I want to start off by saying that Vantrue is not paying me to make this video. They have no idea what I'm going to say about this product once I open it up and look at it and install it on my bike. So I just want you to know that. However, in the spirit of full disclosure, I do want you to know that Vantrue did send me this to test and review and install. So just so you know. Okay. Now, let's open it up, take a look, see what's inside. I think there's a little tab here we can pull. Also, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. I've got my cup of coffee here. A very nice box, by the way. Nice little piece of vellum here printed with a motorcycle picture, and it kind of shows all the different pieces and parts. But sometimes the packaging and the professionalism of the time and effort and energy they take to package something is an indication of the time and energy and effort that went into the quality of the product. Not always. Not always. I've had some products that had very nice packaging and they weren't that great. Let's open this up first. Okay, there's a cable. Here's this might be the main unit right here. I think this is the main recorder unit. There are cables. It looks like 4 cables. And one of these, I think, goes to a remote control unit. One goes to the front camera, one to the rear camera. We have a cable here. These cables are very high quality. They look, waterproof. This, of course, is waterproof. The cameras and apparently this main unit looks very well sealed. This is a power cable. The cameras are down in the box itself. This is a handlebar mount, and these are cable ties. These are 3M adhesive strips, and then I guess the heart of the system, other than the main unit itself, are the cameras. This is what one of them looks like. This says 1080p on the back. I'm guessing that means this is the rear camera. And yes, this one says 4K on the back. They both have the the 3M adhesive on the bases, and the base appears to be adjustable. You can rotate. And then here is a cable. This is for the remote control. Get a good look at that remote control. This is a pretty thick cable here for this remote control. It does have a waterproof connector. I will say that that's definitely a waterproof connector. But this one is going to probably be the most interesting part to install. Now, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I purchased a micro SD card. Now, this system can use up to a 512 gigabyte SD card. And I checked to see what kind of card would be compatible, and they told me, just basically a U3 V30 A1 4K capable video card should work. I bought this, I just bought a 256 gigabyte. I figured it'd be good enough for testing. And one thing I did notice that's interesting in the little bit of instructions I've read so far, and one of the videos I've seen, and it's one of the things I'm going to talk about probably in my review portion more, is that they tell you you're supposed to reformat this SD card every couple of weeks, which I thought was kind of strange, but we'll talk about that more and see how that all works out. Now, it does come with an instruction manual. It's kind of small, but at least they give you a manual. It's not like you have to do this, download a PDF or something. I will read through this and I'll let you know what I think of the manual a little bit later. It does have color pictures in it, small. Everything's very small. The print is big enough to read, but the photos themselves are very small. There's also an app that goes along with this that you download for your smartphone, because I know you can either control this from your smartphone, or you can, I think through Wi-Fi, maybe you can download the video from the main unit to your smartphone, which is a very nice feature, by the way. Second part of this video is going to be installing it on my Honda Goldwing, so let's get to the garage. That rat's nest of wires is what will become, hopefully, the dash cam. Lots of wires, and I got to figure out where all of these are going to go. But I did get everything hooked up on this Vantrue dash cam system. I have not mounted the cameras yet, but I do have them wired up. As you can see, I've got one sitting on the floor down here, the front camera. And I've got the rear camera sitting on the floor out back. And I did test it. They do work. I took my rear fender off because what I'm planning to do is install a bracket, a homemade bracket. Probably the worst example of metal fabrication you'll ever see. I never claimed to be a metal fabricator, but I'm going to mount this bracket behind the license plate, and I'm going to set the rear camera, or mount the rear camera to this bracket. And the reason is because I don't want to permanently mount anything right now until I get this thing fully tested. Now, the camera in the front, I am going to mount up underneath the front, above the front fender, on this black plastic underneath here. I'm not too concerned about that, but I wouldn't want to attach it to a painted part using 3M adhesive until I've tested, make sure that this is going to work for me. As far as the remote control, I zip tied it up here, cable tied. This is the remote. I have the wire coming around here, and I zip tied it over here to the brake reservoir cable, which I probably shouldn't do. It's not permanent by any stretch, but I've turned the handlebars back and forth, and it's the cable is free. It's not hitting anything. The instructions do say that you don't want to install this with the logo, basically the name of it, facing down, because it transmits this direction. So we'll have to try to get that to, that's how it gets its Wi-Fi signal, or sends its Wi-Fi signal. Now, unless I'm reading something wrong, there's a little discrepancy in the labeling, because this says the red power cable is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, which would be an always hot connection, and the accessory wire, which is a switched connection, the yellow wire, is connected to the ACC power fuse of the battery. I have a power accessory hub, so I have both those circuits on the power accessory hub, and then the black is a ground. So it says the red goes to the battery and the yellow goes to the accessory. But if we look at the labeling of the wires, it shows the yellow has a sticker on it for the battery, and the red has the accessory, so it's just the opposite. The only thing I'm thinking this might be correct is because this seems to be a heavier gauge wire. This is a much thinner gauge. The ground is also thicker. So I think I'm going to follow the labels and go with the battery being the yellow and the red being the accessory. In any case, because I have the power accessory hub from Pathfinder LED, I'm going to go ahead and cut these off because I don't need them. I'm going to strip them back anyway. I'll be installing these on my Waco connectors. I just noticed one other clue to let me know the yellow is probably the hot wire for the battery, and that's where they installed the little fuse. Typically that's installed on the battery connector. So I'm going with the yellow for the hot and the red for the accessory or the switched connection. As it turns out, I was correct. The yellow wire on my harness was the power wire. I contacted Vantrue, and apparently some of the harnesses went out incorrect in the batch that I got. Apparently this has been corrected, and by the time you order this, should you decide to order it, this should not be an issue. And you can see I've got everything wired up to my power accessory hub. These are all my Waco connectors. I took them out of the box. I'll put them back in here and seal everything up once I'm done. So this is what my temporary mounting solution looks like so far. Yeah, we got a cable showing here. Not crazy about that. If I were gonna do it permanently, I was gonna say drill a hole back here, maybe put a grommet in it, and run that entire barrel through it. It'd have to be a pretty good sized hole. But it is possible to do it that way. Of course, you could also mount it up here on this. I don't like that because that's not really flat. It's got a little bit of a curve to it, and I wouldn't want to drill into it. Or you could mount it to this trunk center lower panel. Not crazy about that either. I mounted the front camera on the right-hand side underneath the headlight to that black plastic cowl using 3M adhesive. I also zip-tied the cable to some of that inner structure underneath just in case. And, of course, I was forced to rotate the camera 180 degrees since it's mounted upside down. Now you can preview the video on the app, so it makes adjusting that camera much easier. When you turn on the motorcycle, the Vantrue F1 will power up.
Start video recording. Wi-Fi on.
A small speaker in the remote control will tell you that the power is on and that unit is recording and that the Wi-Fi is on. And with the Wi-Fi on, you can connect your smartphone using the Vantrue app. And you only have a certain amount of time to do this before the system will automatically shut off the Wi-Fi. But you can turn the Wi-Fi back on using the app. There are 3 indicator lights and 3 buttons on the remote control. The red light at the top indicates that the unit does have power. The green light is the recording light, and it will flash slowly when the system is recording video. The blue light indicates if the microphone is recording. Once you have power to the dash cam, you can then launch the Vantrue app on your smartphone, and it will prompt you to connect to the unit's Wi-Fi signal. And you press the connect to your device button and join that Wi-Fi network, and it will connect you, and you then get a live preview of the front and rear cameras. Now, it can take a while for that to actually show up on the screen. At the very top right hand of your screen, you'll see a little gear icon that's for accessing the settings. We'll go into that in a second. Just above the preview, you'll see the resolution settings. This one is currently set for 4K for the front camera and 1080p for the rear camera. And by the way, those are the maximum resolution settings for each camera. Of course, you have the preview window itself. Now, lower down on the screen, you've got a start-stop record button in the middle. At the top, you have a microphone on-off button. Next to that, to the right, you have a icon that will allow you to change the view. The default view is like the one you're seeing here, where you're seeing the front-facing camera as the largest screen. In the upper left corner, you can see the rear-facing camera, but you can flip that so that you could see the rear-facing camera in the larger and the front-facing camera in the smaller. And then there's a third view where all you see would be the front-facing camera. The button on the left allows you to snap a still photo from the front camera. And the very bottom button allows you to stop recording and go into the mode where you can see the recorded files that have already been recorded. If you turn your camera sideways, you can get a full screen horizontal view of the preview. And if you tap on the screen at this point, you'll get those same icons along the bottom edge of the view. If we click the very bottom button, it will take us into the event viewer, or the list of all the previous recorded information. It also stops recording at this point. Now, I have the system set up to record 1-minute video files. The system does a loop recording, so when it reaches the end of the 1-minute file, it closes that file and starts recording a brand new file, and it does that every 60 seconds. So you end up with a lot of different files, one file for each minute. And as your card fills up, in my case, I have a 256 gigabyte card. As the card fills up, it will begin deleting the oldest files and re-recording the new ones on top of that. If we zoom in where we can closely see 9 of these recorded events, you can see how the system displays this, and I think it's very intelligent. It shows you the time stamp of each clip recording, so you can very easily connect the rear-facing camera clip to the front-facing camera clip. So here you see a clip at 8:52, another one at 8:41, and another one at 8:40. So every minute it is creating a new clip. Now, if you see a significant gap between the timestamps, like here 8:40 and 7:49, that means during that period of time the camera was turned off and not recording. The event viewer also shows you the physical size of the clip, in this case 194 megabytes. Now, if you look at the very top of this screen, you'll see that the SD card is in red. That means we're looking at the files that are actually being stored on that 256 gigabyte card installed in the unit. They are not on your phone at this point. However, you can transfer them to the card, and you do that using the edit menu on the right. If we click on that edit button, you can then go into a mode where you can now select however many files you want to download to your local camera. It's kind of a two-step process. Once you've downloaded these on your phone, you can then transfer them or sync them with your camera roll or photos. So if you click on the local icon at the top of the screen, this will show you all of the files that have been transferred from the SD card to the phone app. Of course, these can be viewed offline. You don't have to be near the unit. The unit doesn't have to be turned on to see anything that's local on your phone. Now, if you want to transfer these to your camera roll or to photos on an Apple phone, you hit the edit button again. Same process. You select whatever files you want to transfer or sync. Click that little sync button at the bottom, and it will begin transferring those to your Photos app. Now, back at the home screen, if we want to see the settings, we click that little gear icon at the top right, and that's going to stop recording, and it lets you go in and change a wide variety of settings for the camera, and it's actually very extensive, and it's pretty logical and easily laid out. I'm not going to go into each and every one in this video because you can basically figure it out on your own. It's really, really well designed. I'd say it's one of the best apps I've seen of this type. Okay, so let's get out on the road and show you what the video looks like. So here is some video of me riding. I'm leaving the house about 5 o'clock, 5:05 in the morning on my way to get coffee. And I wanted you to see some in the dark video. As you can see, it's not bad, especially the front-facing camera. I did learn that the rear-facing camera, I mounted it. It's a little close to the license plate light, and it's getting a lot of glow from that license plate light, and that's interfering with the quality of the picture. You don't notice it during the day, but you do during the nighttime shots. Now, in this next section, I wanted to see if the car passing me on the right, if I'm going to be able at night to read a license plate number. Now, this is 4K video, so I can scale in 200%, and as you can see, I still can't read that license plate number. Now, in full daylight conditions, you can see it's a completely different story. Everything looks much, much clearer front and rear. We don't have that glow from that license plate light. And as this car begins to pass, by cropping in on the video, I can clearly read that license plate number. I'd also like to point out at the bottom of both videos, the camera shows the date, the time, the longitude, the latitude, the altitude, and the speed that you're going. Very helpful information should you ever have some sort of a mishap. And even the 1080p rear-facing camera does a pretty good job. Here, as the car approaches and gets a little closer, you can easily see the license plate numbers. And of course, when you're still like this during the daytime, no trouble reading those license plate numbers of the vehicles in front. So let me give you my final assessment and evaluation of this Vantrue F1 Dash Cam system. What I really like about this, I think the video quality is about as good as you're going to get from a dash cam. I like the way they do the timestamp and all the other information at the bottom of each video. I like that you can record both front and rear cameras, and the 1080p seems to be okay for the rear camera. I think the app is well designed, and I like how they allow you to download the video clips to your phone without having to remove the SD card. Now, what I'm not crazy about is the fact that you have to reformat that card every couple of weeks. I'm not sure why that's necessary. Really, the only thing I'm not crazy about is how the system has to be mounted. Now, that could be because I'm on a Goldwing, and it was just hard for me to find enough room underneath the seat for all the wires and the main unit. Of course, I have a lot of other things already installed that probably made it a little more difficult. That's going to be different for every motorcycle brand or model, so I don't know that that's a negative that everyone's going to encounter. However, I think this is a very nice system. It looks very well made, and if you're interested in it, I will put links in the description of this video where you can purchase this Vantrue F1 Dash Cam. Now, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, click that like button down below. Lets YouTube know that you enjoyed the video, and that really does help our YouTube rankings. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with your friends, and remember what I always say, ride often, but ride safe.